got too much to do.
So I need to swing this do. Gotta pay people today, so I might save my time.
That's kind of crazy. All right, everyone have a seat. We are going to get started. We have 7 years of education to get to you in 2 hours. 1 hour and 55 minutes. Well, you get to do something with it or do nothing with it. 2, 4, 6, 7 of you here. 4 people, one's coming late. The other 3, I don't know where they are. Very interesting. I'm going to ask Gwen to go into the other room. Because I can't have you disrupting us.
I'm gonna shut down.
Okay, you're going to shut down? You're good?
Yeah.
I charge $1,000 per hour for my services.
No problem. When you start, I'm going to focus.
I've started.
So I'm here.
All right, so I charge $1,000 an hour for my services. You guys get this for free today. All right, so I am a business coach. My job is to grow businesses. I guarantee businesses grow when people do the work, which is why I beat up Gwen already. Right? Because it's about taking the knowledge you're going to get and do something with it. Do you know the percentage of people that actually take action on new knowledge?
10? Small percentage.
Smaller than 10. It's 3. 3% of the people that come to any workshop on the planet do something. 97%, we're excited, we're going to do something, and do nothing. You can choose what to do. One of my quotes someday when my book comes out is that knowledge becomes valuable when you act on it. Just being smarter doesn't make you wealthier. Right? And so you want to act on the knowledge. So we've got lots of knowledge coming at you today. Really, it's all about your ability to turn it into action. Right? If you do what I teach you today, you don't need a coach. The reality is, 97% of people don't do anything, so that's why they need a coach. Right? So when do I work out the best? When I go to the gym, do everything that I'm supposed to do? Or when an instructor shows up at my front door? That's when I do what I do the best. Right? Do I know what to do push-ups? Yeah. Do I know how to do sit-ups? Yeah. Do I know how to do all those things? Yes, I know how to do all those things. Just like everything I'm going to teach you, you probably already know how to do. It's about doing it. That's what we're talking about. So getting stuff done. So it's called 6 Steps to Build a Great Business. We kind of rename it every once in a while to 6 Steps to a Sellable Business. Anyone in here going to grow a business that would be sold in the future? Sell it?
Never say never.
Yes. What are you going to do with the business when you don't do the business anymore? Sell it. It'll either close down because you don't want to do it anymore, or you can't do it anymore because you're 6 feet under or whatever happens, right? Or you sell it. Reality is every business is for sale. It's just whether or not you're going to be in control of it or take any benefit from it when it does sell. Right? Anyone heard of Frankel's? Frankel's place downtown. They're going out of business. They're closing their doors at the end of the month. Could they have sold the business? Could have. Didn't plan to do that. They're just shutting the door, selling all the inventory at pennies on the dollar, and locking the doors. So it's like, oh my God, if I'd known that ahead of time, I might have been able to do something to help them sell the stinking business. Because they could have, but they decided not to. They don't want to do that. Too much trouble. Opportunity lost. Another restaurant on the west side of Houston. Big Mexican restaurant, very popular in the Chamber of Commerce. Been around 35 years, doing exactly.
Cantina Laredo.
No, probably bigger than that. On Memorial.
Montecitos?
This is a family business.
You doing Memphis?
No.
It's just something with a C.
Guadalajara.
Guadalajara, that's the next one I was thinking.
No, those are all chain restaurants. This is a family-owned, one single location. But once again, they have about 250 tables, been in business 30-some years, and they're just locking the doors. Just going out of business. Because they didn't understand every business is for sale if it's done properly. So I want to make sure that you guys understand, every business you build, you probably want to think of what's it going to be like when you want to sell it. And that means that you got to think about what would somebody want to buy it for? Because it generates good revenue, it generates good profits. It's valuable to the next person. You want to think about that. All right, so what I want you guys to do to get started, stand up, say your name, your company name, and what might be your #1 business challenge. So really quick, not an introduction, within about 10 seconds each, your name, your company name, and your #1 business challenge. And I usually start with the people in the back there. How are they?
All right. Yes, well, my name's Karina Cuellar. I work for Accent. I'm not the owner, but I work directly under her, and I'm base of the company. And I guess our #1 business challenge is just getting out more in Houston. She's been word of mouth since '94 and only has a subtle amount of people, so that's why I'm with the company now and making it expand.
What is the company name?
Accent Screen Printing.
Printing, fantastic,
And
excellent.
embroidery and promotional items, and it just goes on and on and on.
Well,
Hi, I'm Mona Ramen Interiors, and my #1 business challenge, still being a fairly new company, getting, generating proper leads.
lead.
Yeah.
Generation. Very good. How about that?
My name is Stephanie Barrow. I'm with WeMed Wellness Center, and I would say that our biggest business challenge is just getting our time organized so that we can get what needs to be done finished and build new things.
Well, my name is Wayne, and I'm with JuiceWell. So our #1 business challenge is right now find the right people to grow.
Lois, yes.
Hi, my name is Tuba. I have a home-based business, Tidbit Goodies. My biggest challenge at the moment is getting new clients and improving. Yep.
Excellent. How about that? Over here.
Amber Odell, and I am the founder of Parenting Transitions Plus. I'm a fairly new company, so I think my business challenge is probably going to be generating leads and getting referrals mostly.
What does the company do?
We offer interim or short-term support for divorcing fathers transitioning to a single-parent home.
Oh, fantastic.
Ted Neininger, I own a Sandler sales training franchise, and being new at this, I'd say what I want to focus on is just defining my niche more, because I'm all over the place, doing everything, but more defined for 2018.
Excellent, welcome. And you have a franchise? You have a
Yes.
franchise, like I do, so
Yes.
franchise as well. Yes, we got a lot of things done for us that they have to work on, all right, but then there's so many more things that we need to do that the franchise doesn't provide us. So welcome to everybody. So quick question, can I be your coach for the next few hours? If you're okay with that, please raise your hand. I can be your coach for a couple hours. Fantastic, we'll lock the door, keep you in here. Just kidding. So we won't have a break. Well, we'll have a very small break. We'll have a lunch brought out there right at the top of the hour. But I'll usually give you guys 2 minutes to grab that and come back in here. We do have a lot of education to go really fast. So understand my purpose is to increase sales and profits. Whatever you guys want on that, free up some time, which has to do with hiring a great team. So a little bit about Action Coach. So this gentleman up here on the right of the screen is Mr. Brad Sugars. He founded Action Coach 25 years ago. And you know, he started off as an accountant, trained in Brisbane, Australia to be an accountant. He was doing people's books. And as he was doing people's books, he started to realize that they weren't paying attention to the right things. And so he started to say, well, wait, let me start teaching them to do the right things and in the right order. And he created Action Coach. And well, now we have over 1,000 offices. We're in 75 countries. Our goal is to be in 80 countries next year. And our vision is world abundance through business re-education. As Brad was building this business, he said, wait, business owners are building great businesses, and fact is, we can't take it with us, at least not yet, maybe someday. We can take it with you, but you can't take it with you, right? So you got to leave it to others. Well, what if you built a bigger business, more successful business, right? Then you can leave more to others. Or even take care of yourself first, take care of your family, and then start taking care of others. So world abundance through business re-education is our ultimate goal around the globe. Help you grow your businesses, be more successful, and then cause you to share it with others. When I started in this business, which was a little bit over 8 years ago, Brad published his net worth at $150 million. Now, it's an interesting thing because I was like, oh, $150 million net worth. I don't know anybody who has $150 million. I don't even know what that really means. Anyone know anybody who has a net worth of that number? You know of people, right, but you know them, right? And oh, by the way, this was in 2009. Was that the top of the market or the bottom of the market? 2009.
At the bottom.
Bottom. What do really wealthy people do when everything's on sale? buy subdivisions, multiple subdivisions. I heard him talking about paying $7 million for a $100 million subdivision because the bank had to sell it or the bank was going to be foreclosed on. So, you take advantage of this. So who knows what his net worth is now. I do know that he has a tour that goes around the country, or actually around the world, called the Billionaire Tour. So he's very close to that, I'm sure. And what's interesting is he started out with nothing. He didn't start out with anything. He just started with nothing. And he just built businesses and processes. And back then I said, well, what is $150 million net worth like out there in the world? And I started to look at, like, what's Beyonce's net worth? What's Madonna's net worth? I mean, all these super famous people, and most of them were in the $40 to $50 million range. The super successful, super well-known names are in the $40 to $50 million in net worth. So you don't know his name. I didn't know his name, but he's worth a lot more than that. He's just not a public figure. He's just a businessman. And the things that he uses to grow his business is what we teach. Pretty much all of it we taught with you today. So, a little bit about me. Yes, I'm a certified business coach, executive coach. We've been building the #1 coaching firm in North America for a while. I have become the #1 business coach in North America for multiple years. And several times in the last 9 years I've been #1 in the world. I have built 9 businesses. This is my 3rd multi-million-dollar business built from scratch without investors. And it's really not about the top line, it's about the bottom line. So the last business I had was an IT staffing company. It generated $250,000 of profits per month. Very exciting time. We sold that business, sold a couple other businesses, so I got a lot of experience in selling businesses, building businesses, as well as buying businesses. So we talk about all those things as strategies in becoming wealthier so you can share with more people. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. My mom had a maid service business. My dad had a painting business. That's where I got the entrepreneur spirit from. Not sure where you guys got it from, but you want to think, where did you get this entrepreneur spirit from? And then how are you leveraging it? What's the, what is it that you might have got this spirit from, and then what are you doing it for? So of course, my parents did it because they needed an income. That was their jobs. Maid service business was a job. Painting business was a job. They did have employees. But as I got older, I realized they weren't very successful business owners. Around 16 years old, I remember shopping with food stamps. So we were on welfare. Get older, I left Michigan to come down here at 19 years old to run a pizzeria. And I look back, I thought I was just leaving to run a pizzeria. No, I was leaving a very dysfunctional, very poor family, get the heck out of there, and I moved across the country from Michigan. So, thinking about, I have an entrepreneur spirit, my parents have an entrepreneur spirit. Why am I a multimillionaire and they were very poor? Only one reason. Education. I kept learning how to grow businesses. They stopped learning, or never learned, how to grow a business. Really big difference from owning a business and learning to grow a business. So I really encourage you guys to learn how to grow a great business. Don't be a great coach or a great IT guy, or you want to learn how to be a great business owner. It doesn't make a difference what the business is. It's about learning how to be a great business owner. It makes all the difference in the world. Some people say, well, why do I still do what I do? I don't have to work. But I look back and I see how unhappy my parents were. My mom, I now support. And my dad died at 64 years old because he was poor. He couldn't afford health care. He had no abilities to take care of himself. There's no reason for that. So I do what I do. It's fun. I love changing people's lives. And I don't see any reason for anyone in America to live like my parents did and be poor, especially because they can run business. That's why I do it. So let's talk about how you learn. So there's 2 sides of the brain, left side of the brain, right side of the brain. Do you guys kind of have an idea or remember what the left side of the brain is about?
I'm cheating and looking at paper.
Oh, you can do that, yes? So the left side is the words, math, logic, processes. It's let's just say it's the numerical side of the brain. It's also where we store short-term memory. So the opposite side of the brain, of course, is the creativity, the feelings, It's where we store long-term memory. Now, from a business perspective, what tasks do we need to do? Let's use the left brain. What tasks? Business tasks. Bookkeeping. Anybody love to do bookkeeping? No, not today. Well, usually somebody's in here, right? It's more, yeah, I love that, because they happen to be an accountant or a bookkeeper. What's a task that might be more common on the right side?
Creating a flyer.
Long-term goal.
What's that?
Creating a flyer.
Creating a flyer, long-term goals. Probably long-term goals, depending on how you write them up, it might be left brain.
Interior design.
Interior design, yeah. Creativity, interior design. Right, marketing is also usually right brain. Also, building relationships is right brain. So how many guys think you're more of the systems side of things, the logic side of things? How many guys think you're more left brain? Really? So how many guys think you're more right brain? Creativity, building relationships. How many think neither? I mean both. You guys think you're both? Good? Okay. So it's really important to figure out where you are and then figure out how to get good at both. You're probably good at one and mediocre at the other. How do you get good at both? It's just practice. 2, 4, 6, 7. So need Kathy or Dave to help me out here. Why don't you guys stand up, get a partner. Stand in front of a partner, and don't have a chair or a table between you. So just come up, pair up. David, you might work with her right there. All right, so everybody's got a partner. Let's see, who's going to go first? Older,
Where are you?
All right, so let's do taller. Looks like taller's going to work out. I don't know. You're probably taller. Okay. All right, so whoever's taller, raise your hand between the two of you.
Okay.
Point at the other person and say you go first.
You go first.
Okay, so you know who goes first. The shorter person's going to go first. What I want the shorter person to do is go first. Is arms straight out, cross arms, fold hands down, interlock fingers. Fingers interlock. This is the hard part now. Pull underneath, keep them locked. All right. And now I want the taller person to point at a finger. Don't touch it. Point at a finger. Don't touch it. And see if they can move the correct finger. Just point at a finger. Don't touch. See if they move the correct finger. Try a couple fingers.
Choose another.
Don't choose a different one.
You point at the finger that I broke last
Try a couple.
You pick the one that like functions.
That one.
Try a different one.
Point at a different one.
I see lots of thinking going on.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and swap. All right, let's swap. See the other person. Arms straight out, cross arms, interlock fingers, pull under and in. Point, don't touch. Point, don't touch. See if they can do. It's a hard thing to do, yes. Point, don't touch. See if they can move the correct finger.
That was actually pretty hard. Yeah, there we go.
That took a lot of mental process.
All right, give yourselves a hand. Have a seat.
That was fun.
Giggling. I saw lots of thinking. You're like, you can see the steam coming off them. All right. So what did happen?
Confusion.
Confusion. Yes. So when someone pointed at one finger, what happened?
You have to think about what finger they pointed at and how the heck to move it.
Right. And did you move the right one? Not the first couple times.
Try it.
You moved the wrong one. Isn't that weird? Pointed at fingers, like, of course I can move that finger. Right? By having you do that, your fingers are on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So they point at a finger that you think is the right side, it's actually your left finger. Right? So you go, okay, that's the wrong one. What the heck? And that's what happens, right? Now, if you did that enough, matter of fact, you might have done it enough to actually figure it out. Could you get good at that over time?
Yes.
It's the same thing. You can get good at right side brain things if you're left. You can get good at left side brain things if you're right. You just have to practice. That's all it really is practice. And that's what we want to make sure you're working on, is doing those things. So do me a favor and call out these words. Read those. Just read those words.
Red, blue, gray.
Just Stephanie for me.
Red, blue, gray, brown, pink, black, green, purple, yellow, red, orange, green, orange.
Perfect score? Yes, good.
Yes.
Now, I want you to do the same thing. This time just call out the color. Not the word, just the color.
Okay.
So that first color is yellow.
Yellow, green, red, blue, brown, pink. Can't tell that, is that black?
harder?
Yeah.
A lot harder. Yes. The reason it's harder, colors are right brain. Words are left brain. Put up both on the screen, and your brain wants to use the left brain because it's a word, and I actually just call it the color. Right? Now do you remember, or maybe we flip back to your slides, which side of the brain is for long-term memory?
The left.
The other
Right.
Oh, wait.
The right side,
Right.
right? Which is also where the colors are. So if you want to learn a lot and have it stick, take notes in color. That's right, all of our workshops have these little boxes on the table. So go ahead, grab one of the colors or a couple of the colors, favorite college colors or teen colors or whatever you like. Just grab some colors and start taking notes in color. I promise you, I've been doing this now for 8.5 years, and I flip back to my notes from 8.5 years ago. I don't actually have to read what it says. It's instant recall. It's amazing how well it works. Okay, so just encourage you to take notes in color, and you will get a lot out of all of the training that you go to. So to get the most, we're going to call out answers, what you're doing, we do the colors, raise our hands, clenching exercise. Remember, pictures are long-term and words are short-term. All right, so this little point here is we call the point of power. It's quite amazing what happens when you focus on being above the point versus below the point. So below the point, and I'm sure you guys don't do this, but you probably know people who do, come up with someone to blame, various excuses, or maybe in denial. But the opposite side is when we have ownership, accountability, and responsibility for our actions. So down below the point we'd be powerless, and above it we'd be powerful. And if we just think of, well, I'll use two examples. One, you're selling something to somebody, and they don't buy. Could we be below the point about the reason they didn't buy?
Yes.
What would be one of those reasons?
It's them, not me.
Huh?
It's them, not me.
It's them? Right.
They have an excuse why they can't.
Right. And what is one excuse people have? Money, right? So is it money or is it value? It's value. So whose job would it be to show more value? The salesperson. So if you think that way, then you go back above the point and start having ownership, accountability, responsibility for how do I show more value? Instead of they couldn't afford it. Really big difference. Even as something as simple as Houston traffic, right? Houston traffic, we could blame it for being frustrated. It could be our excuse for being late. And if you live in Houston long enough, I don't know you'd be in denial about Houston traffic. It's possible, right? So how could we even be above the point in terms of traffic?
I should have checked the traffic reports and left earlier.
Yes, there's reports, there's TV, there's the telephone, or, yeah.
I should have carpooled.
Pardon?
I should have carpooled.
Carpool, yes.
You know, I can change my time.
Right,
Don't
leave
get on the road when
earlier.
it's next time.
There's so many things you can do just to be above the point, even with something like Houston traffic. Right? Is it possible you're going to get right behind an accident?
Yes.
Can't control that. You're going to be late. You can pick up the phone and say, hey, whatever the appointment is, don't say, I'm going to be late because there's an accident in front of me. Reschedule it. Because you don't know how many more tow trucks are going to show up and really block this freeway, and you could be there for an hour or two. The other thing to do about things like that is make sure your car is a university. They did a study and they said for the average commuter in America, if they made their car a university, audiobooks and educational materials, you could get a PhD in 2 or 3 years. Just because the amount of time people are commuting. So make sure you have audiobooks or different things in your car that will cause you to make your car a university. Right? Now it doesn't matter what happens on traffic, you're using your time very well. Stay above the point of power. There is only one failure, and that's the failure to participate. Figuring out how do you give 100% of your efforts all of the time? And then as you start to grow a team, how do you get them to give 100% of efforts all of the time? How many of you guys have team members? Anyone yet? A couple of you guys? Okay. So you start to think, how does the team think like the owner? You guys start coming up with ways, because then they'll give 100%. Hopefully the owner gives 100%, but ultimately it's about getting your team to give 100% as well. Now to get the most out of learning, these two words can be very dangerous. I know. So we want to get rid of those words. I am going to talk a lot about marketing and sales today. So our gentleman from Sandler's sales system has a great sales system. If he's in the mode of I know, then whatever I'm going to teach, he won't be able to learn because of I know. I've sat in rooms like this before and listened to great business coaches. And if I thought, man, I'm a great business coach, been ranked #1 in the world, #1 in North America 4 or 5 years in a row, and if I just thought, well, I know everything they're going to say, then I'm not going to learn anything. Anyone have teenagers right now? Okay. Anyone been a teenager? Yes. Do you remember, and you probably do, the I know? You hear it a lot. Yes. I've hosted 9 exchange students, and yes, they were all in the teenager years, and they all had I know. So I practiced this little trick. So, A, we don't want to say I know. We want to say I agree, or tell me more. Because you don't want I know because it shuts your brain off. We don't want them to say I know because it shuts their brain off. Not a good idea. So when team members or teenagers say I know, all you got to do is ask them one question. Great, tell me about that. You can practice that probably today. You know, I need something to do, or whatever you're telling them something to do, and they go, yeah, I know, Mom. Yep. You said, great, tell me about that. And they'll go, about what?
What you know?
Yeah, well, you know what it was. I was just going to tell you. You already know it. Tell me. And do that a couple times, they'll stop saying I know. It's worked quite well for all the teenagers I've but we do want to get rid of that. Here's a little video that kind of helps.
This is an awareness test.
Come on, play something.
How many passes does the team in white make?
One more. Guys gonna count?
The answer is 13.
Good. Big question.
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Let's rewind it so you can see what the moonwalking bear is. The moonwalking bear is going to show up on the right side of the screen. There he is. He's doing the moonwalk across the center of the screen.
Yeah, I was like, there's something off.
Yeah. Easy to miss something and not look like these things. So, you know, if you're counting passes, you're not going to see the moonwalking bear. If by chance you're watching for the moonwalking bear, you're likely not to count the passes. So in business, what does the counting passes represent?
Everyday, nitty-gritty stuff.
What else? What do we have to count? That's right, I don't have any left brain people here. What do we have to count? Money, revenue. What else do we have to count? Leads. What else do we have to count? Activity. Number of people in the room. Conversion rate. Right? Productivity, depending on your business. There's lots of things to count. Yes? Counting very important in business? I'm going to emphasize that a little more, I guess, in this room. Definitely very important. Ultimately, it's about the bottom line, right? Got to be counting profits. What does the moonwalking bear represent that might be something else? Not related to counting. Pardon?
Missed opportunity.
Could be missed opportunities. Changes in the markets. By the way, very important thing. What is likely to pass today or passed already up in DC? That's going to affect everyone.
Are you talking about the taxes?
Yes. Right? Will there be changes based on the government? That could be the bear.
Yeah.
Right? So what do? Ignore it?
No.
No. You just deal with it. Right? So there could be changes in government procedures, rules, regulations, market changes. You need to pay attention to those as well. It's just part of the game. the game of growing the business. Right? Remember I said earlier, you got to be good at growing a business. For a while, you might have to be good at interior design or IT or whatever it is you guys might do, right? Long term, you got to be good at growing a business. Requires you to watch both sides of this little example. Now, we just want to kind of think of words like "isn't that interesting." "Isn't that interesting" allows the brain to stay open instead of closed. You want to just continuously learn. Don't be like my parents that never learned and never acted on any new education. Is this important in business? This three-letter word? Very important. And it may be more important when you leave than when you got here. Because if you're here till you're 80 years old, just because some of us will make it 80, some will make it a little longer, some will make it as long. So if you made it to 80 years old, how many weekends are there for 80 years? Once again, another math question.
80 years?
Yeah.
Yes, 4,000.
4,000. Yes. 4160. So did you say 4,000? There's 4,000 Saturdays in a lifetime, on average. If you're 40, half are gone. Older than 40, more than half. It's really critical to have fun because you only have so much time. In 8.5 years, I've had 2 clients die and one client's kid suicide. Kid was 40-some years old. So. But still, 3 deaths that I know of personally. Right? 2 cancers and 1 suicide. We have a limited time. We must enjoy life. We must have fun. So you've got to grow the business fast. You can't just be lazy or slow or come up with all these excuses. You've got to go fast. Right? So what's the fear of going fast?
Failure.
Failure. Yeah. Or have you heard the saying, "Oh, they grew too fast, therefore they went out of business"? Yes. You know who those companies are? 1,000,000 times your size. Worry about that problem when you're that big. Now, some people say, yeah, Krispy Kreme grew too fast, so they went out of business in Houston. No, they had a franchise problem. They had to close their stores because of a franchise problem, a legal problem. You know, if you said, oh yeah, I grew too fast, yeah, well, there's rules you should follow to prevent growing too fast. But a lot of times, what we hear in the world prevents us from growing, which is not valid for us. There's some sayings out there, maybe your parents or grandparents said, if you want something done right, you must do it yourself, which means you will be forever working and forever poor. Because you'll always have this job, right? You won't be wealthy because you'll be too busy doing all the work. So really important. You've got to be able to grow the business, take off a bunch of hats, and then have a lot more fun. Now, at our workshops, you're going to have these things called BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. I think it's pretty obvious to know that we're not here forever. But it might be a blinding flash of the obvious that you only have so many weekends left. Those are BFOs. It's really important to circle a BFO. Put a big star on it. These are the things you need to act on. Knowledge becomes valuable when you act on it. A BFO is just that. It's like, oh, that's something I need to do. So notice that we'll have BFOs. I would recommend you do something with those BFOs and take as fast as action as possible. Repeating BFOs are the bad things. Like, oh yeah, I heard that guy say something about that 6 months ago, or a year ago, or yeah, I learned that at another workshop. Those are called repeating BFOs. We don't want repeating BFOs. We want, yeah, I learned that back then, and I did something with it. So if you catch yourselves having repeating BFOs, just realize you need to act on those things. Now, let's see, I haven't heard anybody's phones go off. Looks like everybody's participating, which is good. Let's talk about the formula for life success. Anyone see this formula before? E times do equals have. It's in some books from years ago. So the formula, let's talk about the right side of the formula, the have. The have is the things you would like to have. Like a nice car. I followed a gentleman coming up to, actually even on this floor this morning, first time I've ever seen a McLaren car. It's brand spanking new, doesn't have the license plates on it yet. And if you don't know what a McLaren is, it's a car that costs between $1 million and $3 million. It's parked in this parking lot. I could have hit him if I really wanted to. I wouldn't want to. My insurance company would not be very happy. And he would have been really mad. Right? But so you got a list of things you like to have. You want to have a nice house, you want to have nice cars, you want to have nice vacations, you want to have successful kids' educations, whatever it is you want to have. This might be your list, your bucket list, or your life list, whatever you want to call it. The difference between somebody who has this list and somebody who doesn't is about 1 hour of time. That's all. So I didn't have one of these lists until I got an action coach. I got an action coach when I was 42 years old. So now I have one. And what's amazing is that when you start writing stuff down, you start knocking stuff off. It's one of the craziest things in the world. You just write it down, next thing you know it's happened. You get good at it, it starts happening faster and faster. So you want to make sure everybody and you have a good have list. Now, you might want to put on the have list revenue numbers, or profit numbers, or employee numbers. You can do lots of things on that have list. Left side of the formula, V times do. So the do is the tasks necessary to achieve the have. Pretty simple. To have more revenue, you have to do more sales. Okay? To have more leads, you have to do more marketing. To have $10 million in the bank, you have to do a lot of sales. So that's the formula. So these are the tasks, this is the do and the have. That's where most business owners stop. I need to have another employee, I have to do hiring. That's all that people tend to think about. First part of the formula is what we teach at Action Coach, is the B. B is become great at. Become great at marketing. So when you're doing the marketing, you have better and more leads. Become great at sales, and when you're doing the sales, you will have more revenue. Now, how do you become good at something? Practice, of course, be coached, but it's learn, right? So there's all kinds of books. We sell these books for $20 each. If you want any books, pick them up before you leave. You can become good at it by studying and then acting, doing the work. It's not that hard. You may have or heard the saying, oh, they were born a great salesperson. You heard that before?
Yep.
Is it true?
No.
Of course not. Come out of the womb and next thing you know you're selling? No. They became good at it. Usually through lots and lots and lots of experience. We don't like that method. That takes too long. How about read a book, learn it from somebody, and then practice? Anyone here golf? Yes. So I don't golf very much. But I was in an IBM tournament a few years ago, and so I said, oh, I should go get lessons. Right? So I go and get lessons, and I'm pretty doggone good at golf. I mean, the average golfer is around 100, the lower the number, the better. My average is 80. And I golf, I don't know, 4 times a year. Less than 100 times in my entire life, and I tend to shoot in the 80s. Why? I learned from a professional, actually a super professional, I don't even want, it cost me $500, I don't even know, but it wasn't very much. But rather than learning the wrong way, I learned the right way, and I do pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Right? Tennis, same thing. I mean, all of these different sports you can learn to be good at. It just takes a little time. Learn from smart people, and then do it. Same thing with everything related to business. So just remember that the do, yes, you probably know. The B is become good at. And that's what we've got to work on. That's what we teach at Action Coach. So think about the business. So maybe the business is driving you, like this guy here, a little frustrated, a couple bottles of Perrier, or beer, and then this gentleman here, where he's driving his business, just looking at his bank accounts, maybe on some beachfront somewhere. I got the luxury of spending a week with Richard Branson this year. And Richard Branson's very much like the gentleman above, worth about $5 billion or so. He has 407 companies he works with. These are not companies he's invested in, it's companies he actually works with. So I asked him, how do you work with 407 companies? He said, well, about 2 hours a day from a hammock. That's it. Because of all of his experience and all the knowledge, and one of the mantras that I probably need to just email him and tell him his mantra is, because he didn't tell me his mantra, but I just got this out of the various conversations over the week, is that somebody comes to him with a good idea, or he has a good idea. He's always about, great idea, who's going to run it, who's going to fund it. Because he's not going to run it, and he's not going to fund it. But yes, it's a great idea. How do we get somebody to run it, and how do we get somebody to fund it? Then he can just spend 2 or 3 minutes a week helping manage a company. So you really want to think about that. How do you get down there? How do you get like him? And it's just understanding some processes. We don't want to have this thing called JOB. JOB stands for, what's it say on the sheet? Just over broke. That's what JOB is, just over broke. I promise you, for as long as you own a business and you treat it like a job, you will be just over broke. You'll tend to spend all the profits and you'll just have this job. That's how it works because of the mentality of a job. You've got to get really good at growing a business and get rid of this thing called a job. And it might start with one of the things I started with today about consider selling it. If you keep that in mind, that someday you're going to sell this business, right? They're not going to buy you, right? And one of the things I learned in the last business I sold is that the business was worth 1 to 2 times profits if I was in the business fully, and 4 to 8 times profits if the business ran without me. I said, oh, I'm going to sell this puppy. I better stop doing everything. And slowly but surely, I stopped doing everything, which means I have to go on vacation more, which is what I did. Been to almost 40 countries now, traveled the world, and the business ran without me, and it made even more money when I wasn't there. Pretty interesting how well that worked. And so I come back, and they have more business and more profits, and I start saying things to do, and they'd say, Doug, just go away. We can handle this. We're doing quite well without you, aren't we? And we said, yes, you are. So we want to get past this just over broke job stage and get into the business that runs without us. Number one reason for business failure is this thing called burnout. Maybe you guys have seen the statistic of businesses that are in years 1 through 5. What % of them actually fail? Have to close their doors? 50, good guess. Another guess? Okay.
60 to 65.
60, 65, getting there?
80.
Yes. 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. How do you make it past that? So now what about years 6 through 10? Right? So you made it that much further. What % that are left fail? So back to 100%. Which ones of those of the 100% fail? Yes? 40 close? It's actually 50. Right? So 50%. So my math major's in the room, which maybe you are now, sir. Because so far there's nobody who's a math major. What does this mean? Right?
Oh, that's so not me.
You're trying to clear.
But I ain't paying attention.
Right? What's the total % that succeed? You got it. 10%. So only 10% of businesses make it 10 plus years. Oh, and most recent statistic is this has gone to 86. Making that number smaller. And the reason is because of this thing called burnout. Think of the burnout. So you're that center match. When you reach burnout, who are the other matches? Like, who are these people?
Like a team.
Team, employees?
Investors, your
Yeah. Whom else? customers,
Competition.
would be nice maybe. Missing very key component here.
Vendors?
Yeah. More important, family. What age did I move from Michigan? 19. I moved at 19 years old across the country, filled up a U-Haul, and moved away 1,500 miles. Burnout. Family burnout because of bad business. And so there's no reason for that. You've got to, most of you guys are single practitioners right now. Do you have any team members yet? Okay. So if you're a single practitioner, who does the accounting? Well, maybe, I don't know. Who does the sales? Marketing? The actual operations? Right, the education, all of it. You're wearing all those hats. And if you just keep wearing all those hats, you're going to reach burnout. It's pretty much guaranteed. I've had 75, 80-year-olds in this workshop before, and they're already burned out. They've been doing it for 20 or 30 years. And they're just like, well, no one else is going to do it. I don't want payroll. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's like, yeah, it's because you don't understand how to grow business. You will be burnt out. You're going to reach that level, and we don't want that. So our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise. That's where most stop in terms of growing a business. Just be commercial, profitable, but we want to say one that works and ultimately works without you. So here's a quick understanding. So we'll probably get the top part. Commercial, profitable enterprise. That makes sense, yes? Middle part, that works. Consider the next employee you bring on board. Who does the training? Most of you, the new employee, has to be trained by you. So that means you're still doing the work, the business isn't. So you've got to get the business to the point that it does the work. If you were I don't know, lucky enough to buy a franchise, then you may have that do the work. Right? So when my team members come on board, they tend to go to the system where I learned it, and they can learn it that way too. Right? So I have a business that works. And then finally, without you. Right? So the point is that you can sell it for the maximum value, go on the maximum number of vacations, and still have a commercial profitable enterprise. You might want to start thinking, what would I do with 2 businesses, 4 businesses, 407 businesses? You'd probably just go on a lot more vacations. You'd probably buy islands. So that's our goal. Commercial profitable enterprise that works without you, and we followed the 6 steps to get there. So I'm going to briefly go over the 6 steps, and then we'll go into details after we grab something to eat. Could you check on food?
I see food.
You see food, okay. All right, so really quick, we'll go over the bottom up. Mastery. So A, think of building this as a house, right? The most important part of the house is the foundation, right? So this is the most important part. The foundation is mastery. You've got to get this really good because you're going to build a bunch of stuff on top of it. So mastery is that stage, we say it's chaos, going from chaos to control. We start to build a stable business. An example of a chaotic business you may have experienced, I certainly have many times, is a brand new restaurant. Brand new restaurant opens up and they do a lot of marketing, which by the way is the second stage. Do a lot of marketing and they fill up the restaurant. And you're in there that first week. How good is service? Have you been to a brand new restaurant that just opened that's full? It's chaotic. It really is. Oh, I've not been to one yet, right? So they may exist, but and even the giant chains I've been to and thought that, oh, well, this is going to be, it was Capitol Grill, Steakhouse. First week open. Gave everybody in the chamber a bunch of free lunches. I went there and said, well, this is going to be an example of that they're good. It started off really bad when I went to valet my car, and I get out of the car, and it's Capitol Grill over in Town and Country. And I valet, and if you've ever been there, it says Capitol Grill, giant glass wall, and you can't see the door. I wasn't sure to go to the right or go to the left. I assumed it's got to be one of the ways to get in. So I asked the valet, so which side is the entrance on? He said, I don't know. I went, this is going to be interesting. So I just went to the right, and I was lucky. So, but I got my steak. I ordered my steak medium rare, and it comes out pretty fast. Real good service, or really friendly service, and it was well done. But I'm like, it's free. I'm going to eat it. It was good. It tasted really good. Manager comes by, wants to check to make sure everything's right, says, how is your steak? I said, it tastes fantastic. I ordered medium rare, but you can see it's well, but that's okay, it tastes really good. Oh, he says, let me just fix that. Grabs it, basically out of my mouth. You know, and because he wants it to be right, it's their first week. He goes out, and he comes back a few minutes later. The person I'm having lunch with is almost done with their meal. Mine comes out, I cut into it. He's like, okay, cut into it, see if it's right. I cut into it. And it was so raw, it's like, you know, bit me kind of thing. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I like medium rare, but I don't like raw. He's like, oh, that's just not cooked enough. And takes it from me again, goes away, comes back, third time. Of course, the person I'm eating lunch with is completely done. Third time, he says, okay, this has got to be it. I cut it, it's medium rare, looks really good. I take a bite, it sort of has no flavor. It's like eating the napkin. I said, oh, this has no flavor. That's okay. You know, I've eaten the sides 3 times. I'm fine. You know, it's okay. I understand it's your first week, and I'm thinking, I got another story because of the stage. It's amazing what happens because they do a really good job at marketing, but they just don't have this all perfected, which doesn't make any sense. And nonetheless, he says, oh, they didn't season it. I'm so sorry. Here's a $100 gift card for you and a $100 gift card for your guest. Please come back and give us a try again. I said, absolutely. I said, I'm a business coach, and I kind of talked a little bit about, you know, critiquing things and whatnot. And he's like, oh, fantastic, coming back. We'd love to hear your comments again. 3 years ago, where are those coupons at?
Still at home.
My dresser. Isn't that interesting? Why?
First.
Yeah. That's really, our first impression is really important. Mastery is about making sure that you're going to be able to get the customer and keep the customer. Right? More about mastery in a bit, but it's really important not to do the next stage, which is the marketing machine, where we start to create predictable cash flow. Right? We want to be doing that, but we want to make sure that we can keep the customer, which is part of mastery. And there's some other things inside of mastery, because I'll talk about details in a second. So once we get a good machine, marketing machine, we start to generate good cash flow. So normally, this workshop is taught by Sam. Sam's wife had back surgery this morning, so I moved some clients around so that I would teach you guys today. Normally, this event taught by somebody else, and all these other things are already built into our business. So leverage is where we start to systemize things, and with systems creates time. If you bought a franchise like me and him, right, we bought that stage. We bought the systems. Everything to be a successful business owner, in theory, is what happens when you buy a franchise. Turns out that, no, there's not a franchise I've seen yet, including Action Coach, where everything is included. The salesperson says that, yes, everything's included. But when you get out in the field, you go, well, how do I do that? No, that's not in the system. How do I do that? Oh, that's not in the system. Right? And so you have to do some things. But if you bought a franchise or you build a franchise, that's what you're buying or you're selling, is the leverage stage. That's systems. Then growing the team. This is, of course, never included in a franchise. How to grow a team. How to take off all of the hats. Right? I don't know about Sandler systems, but I do know in the Action Coach world, the goal was not to be a business that runs without you. The goal was sell the franchise, and I will be the franchise and forever do this work. That contradicts what we teach. I'm going to have to figure out how to not do that. Right? So that's why I have a team. That's why I have multiple seven of us here, because I am slowly growing my team so I do less. Just like I did with the other businesses. Really important to do. Then we get to synergy. Synergy is that stage where you just turn the crank. Officially, it's the multiple locations, multiple product lines stage of the business. Right? You don't want to do that until, of course, you've got the team in place, you've got the systems done, you've got a marketing machine and a sales process you know works, and all the things in mastery that allow you to keep the client. And then finally, the top stage, this is where we really have good cash flow The ability to diversify, which means you start buying rental properties. You start buying, fixing, and selling other businesses. You really start to be serious about investing in stocks and bonds. We want all businesses to reach that stage, which is completely running without you, and you have a cash flow machine, and you start doing longer term investments. Does that all make sense? All right, we're going to do the details of all this in just a second, and just see that slide real quick. So before we go on the 2-minute break, I want you guys to flip through your notes. Find three things that you learned or relearned in our first half here. So find 3 things that you learned or relearned, either just put a star next to it, change your color, something like that. And as soon as you do that really quick, then we will briefly talk about it. We got just a quick minute to do that. 3 things you learned or relearned. All right, give me one of them. When? One of them, yeah. Take notes in color. Fantastic. One for you.
That you shouldn't really be doing too much marketing until you have mastery.
Yes, absolutely good. One for you.
Don't treat my business like a job.
Very good one. One for you.
Easy to miss something you're not looking for.
Very true. One for you.
Instead of teenager, I'll go with the I agree.
Teenager, good.
So I'm late, so I did the 6 steps to massive results.
Excellent. Good.
Mine was the I know, get rid of the I know.
I know. Yes, you can practice your kids.
Yeah. How can I show more value rather than focusing on the price?
Yes, excellent, good. All right, so there should be sandwiches and maybe some drinks over there. Go grab one. We will start back up in 2 minutes. All right, let's get started here. I think everyone is back. Good. Just so you know what you're getting yourself into. Small Business Club is an education-only event. It's online. It's $129 a month. There's no accountability in that. It's just education. So you could say, hey, I want to get into more education, learn more things. It's a great course. I created it because a lot of micro businesses, startups, need the education. Not taught in colleges. We teach it. I'll talk about that at the end. Mentor Club is the first program for small businesses doing less than about $100,000 a year. $500 a month. It does include education and accountability. And then one-to-one coaching for the businesses that are doing more than $100,000 a year. Start out at $2,295 a month. Our largest program right now is $5,995 a month. It's entirely based on the leverageability of the business. So a one-person company at the low end, a 100-person company at the high end. Right? It's pretty much the same program, it's just the value. If you have a 100-person company and we're coaching you, you're likely to make millions of dollars more. Versus a one-person company, you're likely to make hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Right? So those are the programs that we have, and I'll talk a little bit more in the detail towards the end. All right, so into the details. So we're starting at the foundation, mastery. Now, mastery has 4 areas that you want to make sure are done really well before you start focusing on the other areas. Now, you all have businesses already, so you've already done some things, which is fine. It's just about the significant focus. Like, for example, team. You may hire somebody in team long before you have all the others done. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about the focus. So, inside of mastery. Mastery has 4 areas: destination mastery, money mastery, time mastery, and delivery mastery. So I'll start off with destination mastery. So destination mastery is the slide that people always ask me about later. So all right, so destination mastery. Now this is something that's very interesting because very few people think about this. So here is a quick example. You are this beautiful, what is this? A boat, thank God. Doug is left brain, he can't draw very well. So that's a boat. We'll call that boat your business. Your business is in a very safe harbor right now, and it's time to go out to sea. You're ready to go out to see the world, expand your horizons, and you go out to sea. So you go out to sea, and well, the currents take you this way, and the winds take you this way, and the currents take you back this way, and lots of stuff happens. Just like in a business, there's a lot of stuff that happens. Now, that's the way most businesses try to grow. And if instead you said, I'm here, and I would like to get here. What is this? An island with beautiful palm trees. Yes. So now, if by chance you were to say, all right, I'm in my boat, I want to go out to sea, and I have a destination in my mind. You go out, and you still have issues. The currents, or the team, or marketing challenges, but then you get back on course. And you get off course again, but you understand where your course is. And slowly, you reach your destination. Now, when you understand that you have a destination, and that's why I started today with saying, could you sell your business? That could be your destination. That could be your saying, yes, I want to reach my destination, my goal is to sell the business. That's my destination. It might also be to go public. Right? Or my destination might be, I want to be the largest, most successful interior design business in Houston. That could be your destination. Right? You need one. Because if you don't have a destination in mind, I promise, you're not going to get there. One of Brad Sugar's quotes is, if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, you are already there. Interesting reality. That's what destination mastery is about. So some of the points, no use going out and build it if you don't know where you're going. Of course, at the beginning of coaching, we help people pick an island, pick their destination. We don't want to define what we don't want. Of course, we want to define what we do want. And the interesting thing here is that you give them a direction, and you can run really fast. You can head this way much quicker because you now understand that you want to do this. So it does lead to clarity plus action leads to success much faster. And this other point here about alignment. So part of our coaching program in the one-to-one program is making sure that you, your spouse, your partners are aligned. All have the same island. You may already have experienced that your spouse, your other half, best friend, whatever it is, says, oh, you know, I want you to come home at 4 o'clock. I want you to take care of the kids. I want you to do this. I also want you to make a fortune. And they want you to go over here. And then you have a business partner that says, you know, I can't wait till we get to this point. Down here. And so guess what? You're going this way, and you're going this way, and you're going this way. There's no alignment. So right off the bat, one-to-one programs, we have an alignment session so we understand that everybody is on the same page. It's always a little awkward because someone says, well, my husband isn't involved in the business. Why should he be here? Or my wife. It's like, well, because of this island. We want it to be clear that he or she, they know that you're going to be doing this to reach the island. Is that island okay? Of course, you guys are all in Houston. You know this guy named Mattress Mac. It was agreed. Him and his wife agreed what the island was 30 years ago. That he will work his butt off, be super successful, and his family will never have to work a day in their lives. That's what they agreed on. So now he's a billionaire. He's a bit of a workaholic. But still, that's what they agreed on. Right? And that's how he did what he did, because it started off with having a real good alignment. So that's one of the first things to do, and now it's much easier to build a business plan because we know what we're building. Money mastery. This is the area that, well, a lot of businesses do some good in, but some interesting things about money mastery. A lot of times, history repeats itself. Right? So if you talk to 100 leads, there's likely a percentage of those that buy. That is likely to repeat. Every 100, you get this many customers. Every 100, you get this many customers. Right?
Good leads, not
But
just
still,
leads.
quantity of. Right? It could be 100 bad, which turns into 5 good, which turns into 1 customer. And if you just kept doing that, you're likely to repeat that. Right? Now you can get better at it. So the 100 leads turns into 10 good leads, turns into 2 customers. And then 100 leads turns into 5, and then, things like that. Right? But history tends to repeat itself. So we want to make sure that you understand you're watching what was history like. Also, that we don't have enough information when we're making a decision. We just make a decision. We've got to have enough information, enough data. Right? We've got to measure things. We've got to have key performance indicators. This is really critical stuff. And a lot of times, the cost of chaos is the inability to do it. Right? So poor financial management, one of the leading causes of business failure, underperformance, family relational damage, and poor physical health. I already said my dad died at 64. He didn't quite make it to Social Security. That was his goal, make it to Social Security. Because he was only about getting some money. Never had any money in his entire life. Okay? Family relational damage. Parents divorced after 17 years. Why? No money. Just, it's a very dysfunctional family because of bad business habits. So we've got to get out of chaos into control. Got to learn how to collect, track, save, and spend the money properly invested. There's 2 keys to money mastery. One is budgeting, and the other is reporting. So I know all the math majors in the room. I love to do budgets, right? What about reporting? What about if I said the budget is for budgets for profits? That's all budget is. Budgets for profits. Is it a little more interesting? Yeah, because that's all a budget is. Because if you did this, you end up with this much money at the end. That's all a budget is supposed to do. And then reporting is just to say, am I on course or am I off course? That's all. Would you want to know you're off course if you're off course?
Yes.
You do. If you're in an airplane, do you want them to know if you're off course? Probably. Yeah, so that's why you do the reporting. Budgets for profits, reporting to see if you're on course or off. That's all. That's all you do.
Conversion rate, you mean? Like
That could be, yeah. That'd be some of the reporting, because if your conversion, like if your budget says 100 leads, 5 good, 100 leads, 5 good ones, 1 good customer. And if you get 100 and you got 2 good leads and no customers, you know you're off course. Right? And so you just have to say, something's wrong somewhere. What do I have to change? Do I have to change my marketing? Do I have to change my sales process? Do I have to learn more about sales from Sandler? Right? Do I have to know more about value? And teaching value. So you just understand that's all it is. Budgets for profits, and reporting is to see if you're on course or off course. This is a little a way to determine when do you break even, when do you reach profits. You're going to have fixed costs and variable costs. When you add those 2 together, you get total cost. When the revenue exceeds total cost, you have profit. Now this is a pretty interesting little chart because there's this other part that we like to pay attention to. It's called maximum utilization. Looks like pretty much all of us still get our haircut. A lot of times people come in aren't getting haircuts anymore. So everyone's still getting a haircut, right? So if you go to a hair salon, are there all of the chairs full or some of those chairs empty?
Depends where you go. I mean, visible changes, they're all full.
Yeah, every once in a while. Yours, the ones you go to, are they always full?
Visible changes, yeah.
Okay. No. I was just there. Visible changes was at least 3/4
I must have
empty.
gone during a busy time.
Yeah, right? So it's just, but maximum utilization is when all the chairs are used all the time. Or a bakery would be that the ovens are used 23 hours a day. 1 hour for cleaning and whatnot, and 23 hours, right? So that's maximum utilization. So we want to know what maximum utilization is in your business and make sure it's profitable. It's possible maximum utilization is below break even. I encourage you not to own that business. All it means is that you can't fix it with volume. More revenue just means more losses. Yeah, Mona.
What would maximum utilization be for like a service-based rather than like,
Even visible changes, a hair salon, right? So they've got a big space in the Galleria, right? What if they just did enough haircuts and they're always full and they still couldn't pay rent? That's an example, right? So their costs are too high, or their commission, right? They pay their hairstylist an X% and the left percent covers rent. Well, if by chance they're busy, busy, busy and they still lose money, that's what that would happen. Maximum utilization will be below break even. I've coached 3 of those businesses in 8.5 years. So the only way to fix that is to decrease costs, increase margin. And I could not get the business owner to do that. One was a staffing business that had about a 5% profit margin, and she had about a 10% overhead with management. Grow the business, well guess what? We just lose more money. Right? That's all she wanted. She wanted to grow the top line. I said, no, we've got to grow the bottom line. Eventually, she went bye-bye. Her husband has a real good oil and gas job. Actually, I don't know if he still does, but he did. And basically, he was supporting her hobby, or habit, however you want to look at it. It was an expensive hobby, right? She's still open today, and still, I can imagine, not increased her prices enough or decreased her costs enough to handle that. So that's really important to understand maximum utilization. So whatever the hours are, right? So if by chance, I don't know, if I coached 40 hours a week and I couldn't afford the rent, then I would be upside down. Couldn't fix that. So it's rare, but just got to watch for it. One of the first things we do in coaching is understand this. First week homework assignment is 3 years financials. So we can understand what the heck's going on in your business. So, because we're good on the marketing and sales side. The next thing you do, we just help you sell more, and which could mean lose more, and that would be very bad. So, time mastery. Time mastery is understanding where's our time going. How are we productive? So, in a service-based business, I use the term effectivity. What is the percentage of time that your resources are busy divided by the total number of hours that are available? So we have a coach effectivity number at our offices. So the coaches can coach about 35 hours a week. So that's the denominator. The numerator is the number of hours they're actually coaching.
what was the formula again?
Top is hours used divided by hours available. For my last IT business, we got an effectivity rate of 105%. That was our average. It was very good. Right? That just means that of a 40-hour work week, they tended to be busy they were billable 42 hours a week. Right? And so we just created a process that became the average. It's very nice. Right? So you want to know what your number should be, right? Should it be 75%, 80%, 100%, 30%? You just got to figure out what that is. But that's an example of understanding time mastery. Where is the time going? Other parts of time mastery includes like how fast you send out an invoice. How quickly do you get paid on that invoice? If you were a manufacturing business, How long does it take to get the wood in that you're going to use to build this store? Then how long does it stay on the shelf to get off? Everything related to time. And then there's also about your productivity, and this little time target kind of talks about your personal time usage. The time target, so just like all targets, you want to be in the center of the target. So outside the target are things that are not urgent, not important. We call these distractions. Not urgent and not important. What might be a distraction in businesses today?
The flood.
The flood? Well, that would be a distraction, yes. Could be, yes. The percentage of people that got flooded in Houston is how much? Curious, how many of you guys got flooded? About the right ratio.
Well, we had damage, it's not.
Okay, but not flood. It's about 5%. How much of the city is affected by the flood? About 100%. Isn't that interesting? All right, so it's a distraction because of the news, really. How long do we talk about the flood on the news?
Forever.
We're on day 100 or something now.
Yeah.
Still can affect us. So yes, that can be a distraction. Now it could be a real thing you have to deal with if you got flooded. But if you didn't get flooded, why is it a distraction? Why is it something we're being, messing with us? Right?
Because we got trapped in our homes regardless of water actually coming in, so we couldn't actually.
But no, I'm talking about today.
Oh, today.
It still can be a distraction today. It's okay if you're having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the others that aren't. For months, it's been a distraction. Those poor people, how can I help them better? Oh my God, and it just becomes, so yes, it's a real good example. Yeah. What's another example of distractions?
Your mom calling you to run errands when you're trying to work.
That's a really good one. That's true. Yes. I have several clients that are dealing with their parents' estate and all kinds of other things, and their sisters and brothers calling and complaining about stuff, or the other side, kids. Sally keeps kicking me. Oh, Bobby won't leave me alone. You got to take care of your kids for sure, but it can be a distraction, right? So you got to teach these distractions. Stop to, I got a business to run. You guys can handle this. Let's talk about it after 5, or let's talk about it before 8, whatever. Right? I'm off at noon. Let's talk about it at noon. Whatever that happens to be, those are distractions. We don't want those. Then there's we think it's urgent and it's not really important. That's called delusion. What might go on in our world? What's delusional? We think it's really important. Please. Well, actually, you just think it's really important. We title it delusion.
Well, it's important to file paperwork, but it's not something that has to be done urgently.
Okay, so it depends on how it's possible, right? What about this thing called email?
Right.
How delusional can people be about, oh, I got to send an email, oh, I got to reply to that email, right? If you're sending an email, when would you expect a response? 1 minute? 5 minutes?
Within an hour, 2 hours.
A couple hours? A day? But a lot of people are delusional and go, oh, just got an email, I got to reply. So that's part of it, right? Or the phone vibrates. You might have their phone set on every time I get an email, it vibrates. You go, oh my goodness, let me check that out. Oh, look, yeah, no, garbage. Oh, wait, just vibrated again. Oh, no garbage. Right? So your time gets wasted. There's a statistic that just came out. It's like 60% of time goes to in-between tasks. The in-between stuff. Because you get interrupted, you go do another task, and then you come back. Well, that time difference is lost. If you said, wait a minute, no, I only do marketing between 9 and 11 on Tuesdays. No interruptions, 9 to 11 is marketing. You're likely to get 1.4 times more done if you did that. Actually, we call it a default calendar. So go ahead and get out of the delusional world, and we want to do things that are urgent and important, which would be demand. It's pretty much all the things you tend to do in business. It is marketing, it is sales, it's sending out the invoices, it's getting paid, it's doing payroll. Yes, these are all things you have to do in a business. We would like you to spend 80% of your time in demand, 0 in the other areas, and 20% in what we call the zone. Not urgent, but important. What might that be? Not urgent, don't have to do it today, but it is really important. What do you think? That's demand.
Reaching out to people.
Demand. Don't feel bad, most people don't get it.
Maybe like planning meetings?
Planning means strategic planning, yes. It's important to do it. You know, this is the time of year you tend to do the plans for next year. We do it quarterly, because waiting a whole year is too long, but you know, doing your plans is something you gotta do, don't have to do it right now. Yes, very important. Something else in the zone.
I would say prospecting for a lot of people.
It's definitely demand. It's something, you gotta do it. Definitely gotta do it. You probably gotta do it regularly.
Some legal issue,
I would probably put that in demand.
but it will be not
Is
urgent.
following
It's
up
like
part of
you
the
gotta
thing?
get it done, research.
Yeah, I agree with you, just,
Just something.
yeah.
Oh, he said that's
Yeah.
demand.
There's two things that really go in zone that most people don't think about. That's strategic planning. And it's the one that almost never here. However, you're doing it right now.
Thinking.
Learning.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? 20% of your time on becoming great at. We want you to spend 20% of your time strategic planning and becoming great at. Right? Audiobooks, being coached, listening, learning, acting, doing all the things you need to do to become a great business owner. Not to become a great lawyer or a great painter. Right? That's about the 20%. That's what we want you to spend 20% of your time, not all your time, just about 20% of your time becoming great at. That's the zone, learning. And the fourth area of mastery is the area called delivery mastery. And this is where consistency, the foundation, this is the keep the client. So this is a nice picture of Steve Wynn's Hotels. Does anyone know where that is? It is sunny Las Wages. Yes. So, great place to go. A lot of fun. And what he did was he started out building the theme-based casinos. Started with Treasure Island, Mirage, and Bellagio, and eventually sold those and built his own Wynns. It's just very consistent. You're very comfortable in all of his casino hotels. Very, very nice. Now, for us, how would you know that you're delivering consistent? That your customers are happy?
Repeating customers?
Well, if they came back, yes, that would help. Another way to know.
How many referrals you get from them?
Number of referrals, yes, another way. Even more immediate.
You're doing good?
Yeah, hey.
Money?
What they say about you on social media?
Okay, yes.
Rating.
Also, surveys. Ask them. I'm going to ask you today, how was today's presentation? How did Doug do? How was the content? It's a survey. Every coaching session. Mona, what are you in, a mentor club? Okay, right. So at the end of every mentor club, does Sam ask, what's one thing you learned today?
We go over that in the next meeting because it's on the focus sheet.
Okay, all right, so it's, yeah. But every time, we want to know, what's something you learned today, and what was the value of coaching? Somewhere between 1 and 10, 1 disaster, 10 phenomenal. Right? That's one. We're always surveying, so we know if we're delivering consistently. If we're not delivering consistently, we'll improve it. But just as long as we keep measuring it, all you gotta do is ask. Very simple. Right? So that's the fourth area of mastery. So now we're into niche. This is where we start to create a profitable enterprise. So yes, you've got to do the marketing before you can maybe fix everything in mastery. I understand that. But it's about the focus. So early on, we focus a lot on mastery. We may generate some revenues and profits right off the bat, yes. We want to make sure that you're getting the client and keeping the client. Getting the client, and by the way, should they be a profitable client?
Yes.
Yes. You don't want to be that client that got unprofitable clients. Because then you're up here at the next stage, where you're creating all these awesome things and getting a lot more business. You make sure they're good clients, and you can keep them, and of course, they're going to be profitable. So, our definition of a niche, which is stage 2, is no price competition. So, do you have price competition in your business today? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes? No? Who said no?
I know,
Yes.
there's no business like mine.
Okay, so you're very unique.
Yeah.
Excellent, yes, very good. Right, so one of the things I actually started early off talking about is value, right? Do people buy on price or people buy on value? Anyone disagree with that? I gave this workshop a couple of days ago.
Say price.
I mean,
Mostly price.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they might not, like, they just might not process that they're looking for value, but they're thinking.
Yeah, they think of the price,
In
and
a
they
different way.
And then they think the value in the price.
Especially
The
when-
value until you tell them.
Right, yeah. They want something, right? They want something, they want a new car, right? Is it always about price when it comes to a new car?
Not for me.
Not for anyone, actually. You all have 15, 20-year-old cars? No?
They just bought a car.
7 years.
You just bought a new car?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations, what'd you get?
A Camaro.
A McLaren F1? Is that what you
No,
did?
2018.
Yes, yes. What did you get?
A Camaro, 2018.
You know it has 4 wheels?
Yes,
Steering wheel?
yes.
Radio?
Yes,
So does that $3,000 car that you could have bought.
yeah, but mine looks nice too.
Yes? Value.
Yes.
You valued that Camaro more than something else. I have a Tesla. I value it more than other cars. So it's value. I promise you it's not price on anything. Right? You guys love to go to, I don't know, Awful House. What's it called? Awful House? Waffle House. Yeah.
Is that how you feel about the place?
Well, that's what people call it. I don't go to that, but yeah. Right? Or McDonald's. Right? Or, I mean, the price is low. Is that where we eat all the time?
It's easy.
No, because of value. Every once in a while you go out and pay $25 for a meal. Because of value. Right? I promise you, your customers are buying on value, not on price. Right? And that's what you got to think about all of the time. What is the value, right? So you don't want to have price competition. You want to make sure it's about the value that you're going to talk about. So it is about marketing, right? If you do try to sell by price, you're going to die by price. Because if you try to be the low price leader, who is the low price leader? A company called Walmart. That's their tagline, right? Which is also one of the reasons we think everybody buys on price. Because how many Walmart commercials do we see? Lots. That's why we keep thinking everyone buys on price, because there's always commercials about price. The reality is, not a lot of people buy all their clothes from Walmart. You know, I mean, in 8.5 years, I asked the question, how many guys are only wearing Walmart stuff? And like 2 people have raised their hand. And both 2 were 80-something. Right? But it's interesting. It's the lowest price, but why don't we buy there? You know, you may buy some things there, but the reality is we buy on value, not on price. But yet, the commercials keep going through our head that everyone buys on price. So that's part of the psychology that you've got to understand. Right? By the way, if you were to have the lowest price, then whoever comes out with the next lowest price gets the client. Right? So if you're a cell phone carrier, I guess all of us probably have cell phones nowadays, and Walmart's now selling the cell phone service for half the price, eventually you just say, well, why not? I'll just go over there. Because it's the same company. If they're selling T-Mobile service and they're doing it at high volume and lower price, it's T-Mobile. If you're on T-Mobile, I can save money. It's just what happens. So, in terms of creating your niche, there's 2 things you want to do. Have a USP, a unique selling proposition, and a guarantee. So, what's your uniqueness?
My uniqueness is that I am catering to divorcing fathers supporting their children. So it's about the children, not the fathers.
Right? And other people do what you do. No. So she's already created a product that no one else creates, or no one else is doing yet. Right? So that's one way to create a uniqueness. What if you were a painter? You paint commercial buildings, these walls. How are you going to be unique there? Think about it.
All of those colors.
Maybe. Yeah.
You mean
We
like
offer
in
these unique
time?
colors.
Fun. Yeah.
Time frame, the work gets
Oh yeah,
done.
we only do work between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. Could be unique. Yeah. Absolutely. You want to start thinking what's going to be unique about you. Now, what do you think is unique about me? You've heard a few things. What do you think is unique about me?
You're very opinionated.
Could be. What else?
You're probably one of the few people that have this in there.
Very few people that have that, yes. What else? No, it says can't cash it. But I did already get the cash, it's okay. What else is unique about me as a business coach?
You've done it, you've created businesses that have been successful.
I have experience, right? So I've built businesses, 9 businesses, 3 of them multi-million-dollar businesses. Yes, good. What else is unique about me that you've heard me say?
Oh, you say.
Well, that you're not working all the time, you need to travel, and you want to do.
Travel more, yes. So level of success, yes. Good.
I would say you're unique in your presentation style. There's not another you out there.
That's right. So I've learned
You are
how to do
you.
that, yes.
You're not just reading it.
8.5 years ago, I was terrified to speak. Which also could be a uniqueness. I didn't put that in my script.
Your family.
My family history, right? So we think a little bit, you know some of my uniquenesses. I have scripted those. I was coached to create a uniqueness. So even if I was the painter, I could be something unique about the painter. Oh, we're second generation, maybe. Second generation painting family, right? But you can come up with your uniquenesses. You just got to come up with it. It's very important. And so in creating uniquenesses, you want to think of a couple of them. Test and measure which ones tend to work. You cannot use the words great service as your uniqueness, because everybody can claim that. Right? So you want to start creating your uniquenesses that are related to something that's not duplicatable. And then test it out. We have a part of our system is what we call the USPA and Guarantee Questionnaire System. Basically, it just starts to get you to think, what is it that I should create as uniqueness because the market needs it? So you just have to think, what do people dislike about my industry? And what if I create a uniqueness inside my industry that causes people to say, oh, everybody else does it that way, you do it that way? That's unique. You probably have heard of this company called Uber.
Yeah, it took them 3 days ago.
Yes. So, what's unique about them?
Well, a lot of the drivers, they're, big, were soldiers, and they came back and
Could be.
No
Like,
cash.
Okay, no cash transactions, everything's digital, you can see the map,
Who's got a picture of them?
you can get one almost anywhere, in almost any country. I got an Uber in Bali.
They now deliver food.
We're actually
Uber
Eats,
Yeah.
yes. So they took an industry, taxi cab industry, and said, oh, how do we make it unique? What are the things that people hate about taxi cabs? How long will it take for a taxi cab to get to my house if I ordered one?
minimum
Half
30
hour
minutes.
to an hour. How long does it take for Uber to get to my house now?
30 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes. Big difference, right? A friend is in San Antonio, needed a ride to the airport, and so I just said, oh, I'll get that for you. I can Uber it for you. There in 2 minutes, the airport in 8 minutes. I mean, it cost me $8. I'm like, okay. Just the things that were bad in the industry, they said, how do we fix that? Right? So you want to think about that. That's all part of this USP Guarantee Questionnaire System that gets you thinking about what is it that you would possibly do differently if you could? Because you can. You're the business owner. Okay? And then guarantee. So guarantee can be really important. Once again, you think about what is it that people are frustrated about in the industry. Could you throw in a guarantee to eliminate that particular fear? So a really, really big guarantee, which nowadays is interesting because when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight, who created that guarantee?
Was it FedEx or?
It was FedEx, but a lot of people will start to say, oh, that was UPS. No, it was FedEx. Oh, well, what about Amazon? No, FedEx. Right? So they're the ones who created it, but now so many people, it's no longer unique or valuable. Right? What about 30 minutes or free? Domino's. Right? They don't have that anymore. I'm not going to kill too many people. But the 30 minutes or free thing created the whole industry. So did overnight, FedEx created a whole industry. Right? Multiple billions of dollars of industry for that. So you got to think, what is the fear in your industry that would be eliminated if you create a guarantee? So we're over here. So we have fees for coaching, right? So we have a guarantee that we find our fee or coaching is free. Well, it's only for the one-to-one coaching, but the other ones have guarantees as well.
What is the guarantee for Mentor Club?
Mentor Club is, if you don't like it, you can get out the first month and you get your money back. And one-to-one coaching is we guarantee you to find that fee within 17 weeks, or coaching is free. I think Small Business Club is you can try it for 2 months, and if you don't like it in the 2 months, you get your money back. But what is the fear that exists in your industry? Well, most of our clients are in this category, the one-to-one coaching, and so the fear of investing $2,200, $2,295 a month, up to $6,000 a month, the fear is, well, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money because we guarantee it. We guarantee to increase your bottom line by that amount. And out of 300, maybe 320 clients, it's happened 3 times. So we have about a 99.2% success rate. And all those 3 times were 7 years ago. So it's part of what is it that you can guarantee to eliminate the fear. Once again, start thinking about that with the USP guarantee question. All right, so now this is where we really start making money in the business. It's called the 5 ways chart. And the 5 ways are the things up there in blue. So number of leads, conversion rate, the number of transactions, the average dollar sale, and profit margin. Most people say, hey, I want more customers, or I want more revenue, or I want more profit. We say, that's great, we want that too. But we're not going to focus on just more customers. We've cut it into 2 pieces and said, well, that's related to more leads and a better conversion rate. Once you have a customer, right, they buy from you. They buy from you so many times a year, and they buy at an average dollar sale. How do we increase those areas to increase the revenue number? And then what is the profit margins we have to work on to increase the bottom line profit? So profits is broken into 5 different areas. Leads, conversion rate, number of transactions, average dollar sale, and profit margin. So here's an example. So if a business has 4,000 leads a year, which is a little more than 10 a day. Right? Every business in the room could likely get 10 leads a day. Internet, lots of different ways to get leads. Our conversion rate, to keep things simple, we'll say is 25%. So what is that in terms of number of customers? 1,000. 1,000 customers. And on average, they buy 2 times a year for this example. Now that means some might buy 6, some buy 1, but the average will come to 2. And they buy about $100 every sale. That makes our revenue $200,000. Profit margin is 25%, so our profits are $50,000. Simple, small business. Yours may be bigger than this, maybe smaller. But this is a very simple example, right? That they're netting $50,000. So we want to grow the business. We say, all right, let's work on a very small increase. Just a 10% increase in each of the 5 ways. So 4,000, if it goes up by 10%, the new number is what? You add 400 to 4,000, you get 4,400. Yep, there you go. So that turns out to be like 1 more lead a day. Well, 1.2 more leads a day. Right? So a 10% increase in 4,000 gets us to 4,400. Examples of ways to increase leads. I mentioned the internet. So are you currently SEO'd well? If somebody searches for your services, it'd be hard if your services aren't known yet, so you have to think of what they would search for. If they're searching for your services, do they find you, or do they find your competition? So you just have to keep that in mind. If you go out there and you search for stuff that you do, right, and you're not there, then the customer can't buy from you. So that's really, really critical nowadays. Another thing about leads. I was at a holiday party last night, and networking. So holiday parties could be networking. So networking can be a real low-cost strategy for increasing leads. Now, what you do at a networking event. So this gentleman walked up to me, handed me his card. And I said, hi, his name was Luis. I said, Luis, oh, you're an insurance guy. I hate insurance guys. that hand out their cards like that. He says, oh, well, why? I said, well, I don't want your card. I don't need your services. I'm a coach. I sometimes can be a jerk. And so I just let him know, that's not a good way to network. Right? And so instead I said, well, if you came up to me and said, hey, when's the last time you had your insurance prices reviewed? And I might say, oh, it's been about a year. He said, well, I'd love to look at them for you, and I'll even buy you lunch. I'd say, okay, here's my card.
So you would be okay with a salesperson or an insurance person jumping straight into the topic like that? I mean, not even.
Well, much better than handing you a card.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, shouldn't they kind of say, nice to meet you first?
Maybe. Depends on DISC. Have you learned DISC yet?
Yeah, I'm just horrible at it.
Okay. You gotta get good at it. That's part of become good at it.
I'm trying.
Yeah, so depending on the personality of the person, you do not want to say, how was your weekend? You do not want to say, what are your holiday plans? You don't want to say, hi, are you married? You do not want to.
Okay, I don't think I'm sure. I'll give myself credit there.
About half of the population does do that.
Yeah.
Because they think that's what they're talking to. So DISC is one of the strategies we teach, DISC. It's a way to learn about behaviors. Do you guys teach DISC or something like that?
Well, we use the DISC profile. I don't know if that's,
Yeah, that's it.
if we're talking about the same
Yeah,
thing.
DISC profile,
Okay.
yeah. Just understanding the people who you're talking to. So depending on their DISC, yes, it's good to start right off with, hi, would it be okay if I gave you a better price on your insurance? Sometimes it's, hey, so how's your night going? Right? I'm the type of person who goes, it's going well. What do you want? But that's my personality. Right? 25% of us are like that. So you just want to understand DISC so that you can really communicate properly. But you don't want to walk up to somebody and just say, hi, here's my card. Right? That's real bad networking. So one of the things I teach you is think of questions to ask, conversation to have, that cause them to say, can I have your card? That's all. If they say that, give yourself a gold star. If they don't, you just got to practice some more. You got to work on some more things. Right? And it doesn't even have to be somebody that needs their house redesigned or is going through a divorce. You can ask lots of questions. Next thing you know, they go, hi. Matter of fact, that happened to me last night. I was just asking lots of questions, and the guy I was talking to says, my sister-in-law needs you so bad. Can I have your card? Right? He didn't need or want coaching, but he definitely knows his sister-in-law has his business. They have about 150 employees. It's a disaster. And so he's like, oh, I need to introduce you to my sister. Right? It's because of the questions you ask that cause them to say, can I have your card? So networking, also a great way to increase this. Conversion rate goes from 25% to 27.5%. Three things. If you insert in your business sales process, will likely double your conversion rate. USP, guarantee, and scripts. If you put a USP, a guarantee, and a script in place, you're likely to double your conversion rate. Now our customers are up to 1,210. Number of transactions goes from 2 to 2.2. This is also another very easy way to increase transactions. Number one way would be book the next sale. Right? If you're a hair salon, where I go, they don't book the next appointment. Some salons book the next appointment. If they book the next appointment, how many more transactions would I go versus when I do go? I go every 6 weeks or 7 weeks. How often should I go? Well, every 3 or 4 weeks. They could double the number of transactions if they just book the next sale. Right? And they could just, real simple. So we put you down for the same time next month. Oh, that's fine. Great, we'll send you an email calendar just so it's on your calendar. If you need to move it, fine. But now be reminded in 3 or 4 weeks instead of, God, it's getting really long. I need to get a cut. Right? Increased number of transactions. Also, what else could they buy from you? You might have to come up with a new product if you don't have one, but you have to think, what else could they buy from you? Actually, this year, we created an employee coaching program to increase our number of transactions. We coach the owner, right? But wait a minute, the owner has employees. What if these employees are future general managers, they're future really rock stars? They could use coaching too. So we increase number of transactions there too. Checklists is a good way to increase number of transactions. Book sales, future sales, make sure you have things for them to buy. I mean, if you make cakes, everybody here makes cakes, huh? But you make wedding cakes, cookies, right? Why would they buy another cake? Birthday, anniversary. But if you're a wedding cake company, you're like, no, I don't do those. Stop that. Start doing those. It's increased number of transactions. Lawyers, they don't like to do wills. Stop that. Start doing wills. It's real easy. Have somebody else do wills. Number of transactions can be increased. You just have to think a little bit about it. Average dollar sale goes from 100 to 110. Our strategy you're already quite familiar with is something called bundling or meals. Go to a drive-through, a Whataburger, and burger is not on the menu, but a meal is. So they've increased the average dollar sale from 2-something to literally 7-something. Just by putting things together. Yeah, you can still buy the burger, but that's not the way menus laid out anymore. Heard of this company called Sam's Club? Costco? You cannot buy a roll of paper towels. You can only buy, what, 16 or 18, whatever. It fills a people car, right? So bundling is another strategy. Again, checklists could be used here. Oh, you want this done? Have you thought about blah, blah, blah? We have a bundle where you can get blah, blah, blah with that for a little bit less. I don't know if you ever looked at the bundling prices of fast foods, but you save like 6 cents by putting stuff together. Right? So it's not really a big savings. It just turns into a convenience factor and a marketing thing to increase average dollar sale. Now revenue. This goes up to $292,000 by a 10% increase in the 4 areas. Profit margins, I probably would say one of the strategies here is to make sure you raise your prices. Make sure your price is value-based, not price-based. Anyone had Shipley donuts recently? No?
I bought some for my nephew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Shipley's, you'll pay $1.25 more per dozen now than you did a year ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, isn't that interesting? The whole city has raised their prices because of coaching through me. But hardly anybody
It's
knows.
your fault.
It's my fault. And it's because they were the lowest price donut shop, the lowest price donut shop compared to Krispy Kreme and Dunkin', by $2 a dozen. And they're so much better. And they throw everything away in 4 hours. I mean, there's so many things that are better about their place than the others. I said, why are you so cheap? And so conversations, literally months of coaching that took it to happen. I'm going to make it happen. But you know, just make sure you're value-based pricing, not whatever, lowest price. Profits are now $80,000. So this example, 10% increase, increased to 46% more in the revenue, and more important, 61% increase in the bottom line profits. Which is how we can guarantee what we do. We have 380-some strategies inside the fibers. We just pick and choose which strategies are appropriate for your business and get you to do them. The real part of coaching is the psychology of getting the owner to do the work. That's all it really boils down to. Strategies are really easy. It's getting them to do the work. It took me 3 months to get Shipley's to raise their prices. And that was just on 2 stores. Eventually, corporate learned because the franchisee I coached told the franchisor, or used the same questions. Why are we cheaper? It's because it's crappier, bad service, bad quality. Of course, the franchisor's like, no, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. Well, then shut that. So they're still cheaper than Dunkin' and Krispy Kreme, but now they're like 75 cents cheaper a dozen. So, but they still should probably be more than the others because of quality. Nonetheless, we just keep doing that. So what do you do with the money? So first off, you say, well, maybe it's buy a new car. Not my car. Or maybe it's more vacations. Possibly you invest that to buy employees. So that $30,000 on that small business might be my marketing person, might be my next salesperson, might be the next lawyer, or whatever it happens to be to do the operations side of things. Gives you the time to be more CEO. Ultimately, you want to get to the point that you're CEO 40 hours a week instead of 4. You start coaching with us, we ask you to be CEO 4 hours a week. And whatever else you have to be, 36 or 46 or whatever you happen to be the rest of the time. You still have to do the work. You haven't figured out how to do all these other things yet. So we want you to be CEO more. And then you get to spend a lot more time with all the important people. Mr. Warren Buffett says it's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. Any of the strategies I mentioned so far real difficult?
None.
I don't know. And none are. None are. It's just doing. It's the activity. It's the action. Now up here in leverage, I'll just go through these a few steps here really fast because you guys aren't here yet. But this is where you get the business to really start to work easier and easier. It's creating the systems to save yourself time, energy, and money. And like I said, if you buy a franchise, you bought the system. You don't have a franchise, then you have to create the systems. You want to start creating systems at a stage after you have niche working. You don't want to create systems if you're not have a marketing system and a sales system. It's just sort of a waste of time to build the systems when you don't have a good, highly profitable business. So inside the book, we talk about all the different ways to systemize a business. Then we start to talk about growing a team. This is a kind of a fun stage because then you're not doing all the work. Here's an interesting quote by Tom Peters. Most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, enthusiastic, and loyal, except for the 8 hours a day they work for you. Of course, we want to get to the point that they are that, right? It just takes time, and you've got to learn how to go from manager to leader. It's an interesting transition. You do have to start off as manager and eventually become a leader. Long term, we want the owner to only focus on the team. Team on the customers, customers on the business, business drives the owner. Long term. Not short term, but long term. Right now, you're the owner, you focus on the team and the customers and the business, which means you don't have a lot of time to be CEO. And we understand that, but this is a long-term plan. 6 keys to winning team, you guys have those written out there. Talk about getting the right people on the bus. There's also about getting the wrong people off the bus. There's also a conversation about people in the right seats on the bus. Now, what is not talked about very much in the analogy of the bus is who is the most important person on the bus? The driver. Yes, that's you. You're the driver. You want people on your bus. You got to be a pretty good driver. You got to know where they're going, right? People want to get on your bus if you say, hey, I have a destination in mind. Hey, this is our plan. This is how we're going to get there. Hey, I'm working on myself to become a better bus driver or a better leader, better owner of a business. It's really important to do that. Most important person is the bus driver. You've got to focus on that. We focus on the bus driver. Up here, synergy. Like I said, this is where we start to duplicate multiple locations, multiple product lines. We get a general manager on board, put the business on autopilot. Mr. Richard Branson says, if you can learn to run one business successfully, no reason you can't run any number of businesses at the same time. Principles are the same. He knows that. That's why he can grow 407 businesses 2 hours a day. It is the same thing. Every one of your businesses, including mine, is the same. We just do things. The operations is different. Marketing is marketing. Sales is sales. Operations is different for my business versus yours. Finance is the same. Growing the team is the same. That's why when people say, hey, have you ever coached a flooring company before? Oh, no, never coached a flooring company, but let me tell you about your marketing and your sales and your team and your finance. I don't need to know about the floors. That's your job. Or a dentist office or a vet clinic. No, I mean, certainly have some ideas. The point is, it's the same 5 pillars and the same 6 steps to build it. They're all the same. Jim Rohn says, never wish your life were easier, wish you were better. Work harder yourself than you do in your job. That's about the point of the bus driver. Becoming great at growing a business. Not about becoming great at an insurance signer or an IT guy. Brad says, well, there it is. Where you'll be in 5 years depends on the books you read, the people you associate with, and the actions you take. So, here we are at the end, close to 1 o'clock. I want to let you guys go, but I want you to know there's 2 things you can do. You can say, hey, I would like to do this on my own. I am an action-oriented person. I'm going to take the knowledge, and I'm going to go and build my business. Or you can say, well, maybe I'd like to get results faster. Ultimately, I believe everybody's on a path. You're down here, and you're going to here. You're going to get there. My job is to make the success faster in a shorter amount of time. We only have so much time, so let's get things faster in a shorter amount of time. And if you want to do that, there's a couple options. One is that, well, coaching is something you get to take with you forever. So it's not consulting. Consulting is somebody does something and delivers it to you. Coaching is the teaching you and holding you accountable so you can do that forever. Of course, short term, it's all about cash flow, profitability, and freeing up time. Growth Club is included in our other programs, but just letting you know if you want to get it separately, it's $995. That's the quarterly planning session. We said that at the end of the year, people are planning for next year. We do it every quarter. Next planning session for us is January 10th. Because of holidays in Harvey, we moved it to January. So it's included in all of our other programs. Action Club, this is a program that's sort of like a college course where you learn stuff. Action Club is taught here on the second and fourth Thursday. We have a session this Thursday. Actually, one of the sessions is free this Thursday. 4 o'clock to 6:30. It's $37.95 a year and does include Growth Club. And this is all the curriculum that's inside of Action Club. Everything from making sure you have a great destination to what is your marketing plan, your sales processes, what do you leverage together. We talk about website, we talk about SEO, we talk about referrals, talk about creating raving fans. Lots of stuff covered there, and those are the things that we know aren't taught in college courses still. It's all the practical stuff that causes the business to grow. And then you've got the one-to-one coaching. One-to-one coaching is, like I said, starts out at $22.95, goes up to $55 or $59.95 now. Different levels, all based on number of employees. That's where things are really intense. We're really focused on kicking your butt to cause you to do the work that you need to do to get the success that you want to get as fast as possible. It's very intense. It can be challenging for some, but it is where we get the most results the fastest. Mentor Club, this is one Mona's in. Very similar to one-to-one coaching, just happens to be in a group environment. Tuesdays at 9? I think so. Tuesdays 9 to 10, 9 to 10:30 every week. And it's $500 a month. You can cancel any time. We do record it so you can listen to it later. And it's very similar to one-to-one coaching, just happens to be in a group environment. Which is also good because you can learn how somebody else needs to be coached or is being coached.
And people pitch in on their own ideas too.
Yep. Yeah, so it's kind of a group think tank, and then the coach needs to say, yeah, that's a good idea in your business, not a good idea in your business. Sometimes that can happen.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But definitely it's also good because you can get referrals inside the group, maybe even business from others inside the group. So it's definitely a very nice program. That's for those businesses that kind of started out doing less than $100,000 a year. So where are you going to be? Bottom line is you're going to be somewhere 12 months from now. And rather you be spending more time having vacations and fun than frustrated about that. Now you know you made a good decision when it brings up either fear or excitement. First time I bought a house, first time I bought a car was scary and exciting. Investing in coaching is the same thing. Our job is to make sure you're increasing the bottom line, and just as long as you do what you're agreed to do, it works. So if you want to stay, we can talk about the right program for you. David's here, Jonita's here, maybe Kathy's back there as well. Talk about the right program that's good for you. And if you want to enroll today, we'll save you $500 on any program you want. If you want to enroll in Mentor Club, we'll take $250 off each of the first 2 months. So you're getting in at a really, really low rate. And then also one-to-one coaching. If anybody was there, if you want to enroll today, you can do that for $500 off your first month. If you're like, so, I don't know, maybe, well, if you're in the maybe category, then we can say, let's talk some more. If you want to talk some more, we'll do a 1 to 2 hour meeting with you just about your business. We'll go over your 5 ways numbers. We'll go over profitability. We'll go over strategies. It's a really valuable session. We invest quite a few hours beforehand. You would do a few things beforehand as well. If you want to do that, just be sure to set that up today before you leave. Because of the holidays and because I'm nearly full, Sam's wife is in surgery, which she's done well, apparently. We just need to know what that 2 hour block is. And change the time if we need to, but let's get the 2 hour block done before you leave. Then we're going to send you a questionnaire, a 4-page questionnaire. Ask you some questions, get a good understanding of where you think your business is, where you think the opportunities are. Gives us opportunity to start doing some research. We may do a secret shop, we may order cookies. Who knows what's going to happen to see what we want to learn about your business before we have our 2 hour meeting. Then we have the 2 hour meeting, go through all of your statistics, all your numbers, the reality of where the business can grow. If we can get your business to be 3 times your investment in coaching, then we will bring you on, if you want to. If we can't get to 3 times, or you're not coachable, last week I met a person and she wasn't coachable. I just let her know, sorry, I wouldn't bring you on as a client, you're not coachable.
Did she keep saying I know?
She did say I know a lot, absolutely, and a whole lot of, well, also, I mean, you guys have all taken notes, but if you come to a 2-hour session and we're teaching you how to grow a business and you're not taking notes, it's probably a sign you already know everything. So anyway, just through that, we just happened to say that no, we're not. If you want to do that, just be sure you set that up before you leave, and then also know that we're going to require you to make a decision at the end of the 2 hours. You can say, yes, I want to move forward with coaching, or no. Yes is good, no is good. It's either way is okay. Making decisions is one of the most biggest challenges small business owners have. And you're going to have to make lots of decisions. Good news, you can go down the path and change your mind. Come down the other path. But you can't go down a path unless you make a decision. So we just say, look, we're going to invest a lot of time and effort. You're going to invest some time. You can research a lot of things. You can call all of our clients. You can do lots of research beforehand. And then if you like the coach, you like the conversation, you say, yes, I want to move forward. Or you can say, no, I don't want to move forward. That's okay too. Yes?
So within these 2 hours, you'd also know if my business can do 3 times.
The investment. Yeah. Because we're going to go over your 5 ways numbers. We're going to go over your real 5 ways numbers. Well, that was a sample. Well, during that 2 hours, we'll go over yours. Yeah. Because if we can't, we won't. Say, well, the best thing we could say is you can join Small Business Club for $129 a month and learn some things because your business isn't coachable. Which is possible. It's happened every once in a while. Maybe, I don't know, 7-8% of the time, the business isn't coachable. Just because there's not enough revenue. Like somebody is selling skin cream, which they don't manufacture, nothing like that. There's not enough margins in it. There's no way they're going to be able to grow a business that way. So just sort of depending on that. Good. Any other questions for me? All right. Well, I say thank you guys very much. Lydia's here to chat with you. If you need to set up that 2-hour appointment, please do so. Fill out your questionnaires, and I believe I have a client. Yes. All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you maybe next time.
Thank you.
You guys have happy holidays. See you.
Happy holidays. Lord, I realize I'm not sitting.
Yeah, I know, I'm like, oh, this chair's getting the bottom hard.
Are you just waiting for